Thank you so much for the wonderful present. I guess it's not yet the time for me to go into the story. I tell you the
Mhm.
story in a few days, but I just want to show.
Aha, beautiful.
Yay. Because normally I don't wear jewelry, you know?
Mm.
So so I kind of like maybe like when I go out somewhere, then I but it's really normally I don't. But when I put this heart on yesterday, it felt like a very soothing lightness.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
so
good to
it feels like very naturally kind of located.
cool. Well, it just felt so relevant to me when I saw it because of the infinity within the heart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and I figured if you didn't wear it, you could at least hang it up somewhere or
Mm.
something. Couldn't pass up the infinite love symbol. So I'm pleased that you have that feeling or experience from it.
Yeah, yeah, very much.
Mm.
Okay.
I I did get me one of those as well. I haven't got it on right now because I only wear these things as well when I go certain places or
Uh-huh.
I usually wear gemstones or crystals because I feel quite connected to those. So jewelry is not normally something that I
Mhm.
um purchase or wear. But like I said, I saw the infinite love symbol and I just couldn't not get it. So
Yeah. Uh-uh.
yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, and I told Kyra what you said.
Mm.
She was very joyful about you receiving her message.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, very much.
Mm. She has such a beautiful heart. Mm.
How old is she?
11.
11. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And Julian?
He's 7. He's about to be 8 next month.
Ah, yeah, his birthday is coming.
Yeah, on January at the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, so um my little projector children actually help me sometimes I with with them because of this the human design stuff and with Kyra especially. I notice that her quiet space to go inward and find herself again is when she does her art. She
Mm.
gets into painting and she gets lost within her painting and she's always more happier and lighter and
Mm.
herself after that.
Mm.
So mm. And she's a very beautiful artist, although she has some perfectionism that creates a bit of self-criticism. Yeah. But I figure once I realized this aspect of her art being part of her way of going back to herself,
Mm.
kind of it doesn't matter what the outcome of the art is anymore. It matters that she's going through that process. So,
Mm.
mm, mhm.
And Julian, what is his way? What are his ways?
Well, he's a little bit game obsessed actually. And he goes through his moments where he has obsessions with different things that seem to preoccupy his every thought and moment for a period of time. And then suddenly it's a non-relevance and something else becomes the obsession for the next few months.
Uh-huh.
So
But is it something like art related? Is it like what kind of, I just wonder about the directions of these, or are they very different fields, or is there any specific field?
it depends. No, they change. They're all over the place, but he is very creative. He does like art stuff, but then he will 1 minute and the next he's not interested in art.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes he's outdoorsy, sometimes he's not. He's quite obsessed with video games at the moment, so he just pretty much wants to be gaming all the time.
Hmm.
And so it's a constant um how do I say it? It's a constant balancing act on my part to attempt to engage him in other things and at the same time allow him his passion for gaming. So it's kind of his currency. So he'll do his because I homeschool him. He will do his schoolwork and he will do some of the things that he doesn't want to do if it means that he can get onto the games. So games are his big thing.
Yeah. And how is the homeschooling for you? Like it's a what I guess it's like one of the how they say the best ever gifts you can give to a child, and at the same time I imagine it might be a challenge.
Yeah,
Hmm?
it's both.
Oh.
Yeah. You said.
Oh.
No, no, it's not too bad actually. I enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
I enjoy it in lots of aspects. It's just very time consuming. So, and there's moments like I really have to work around his moods and how he is each day because I can't just be, you know, this is what how it is. It's got to roll with where he's at, how he's feeling. I guess that's the beauty of it because it allows that flexibility. But it means I have to be very flexible as well. I have to really so there's sometimes a challenge in that, and also, but what I've learned is if I be rigid, um, everything takes longer and everything comes across resistance.
Mhm.
But if I flow in with him, it all sort of works. It's become a lot easier and it's more enjoyable, and
Mm.
so yeah. But I would like to get him outdoors more. Um, but that's something I have issues with too, relative to coming and going between his dad and me because
Mhm.
he gets a lot of gaming time at dad's. And so when he comes back with me, it's almost like a gaming addiction that takes me some time to kind of balance out a bit. And then I feel like we just keep going around in those cycles. So it's yeah. I think the trick is on my part is not to I've learned how to not kind of stress out or
Mm.
um see too much permanency within anything. Everything's fluid. Um so
Mm.
yeah. And I did think about homeschooling Kyra because she has a lot of difficulties with the social stuff at school.
Mhm.
Um she's quite deep, and I think actually now I understand some of the projector stuff. I think it's that she takes on everybody's stuff is what it is. She takes on everybody's energy and it depletes her. And then she doesn't get a break, and 6 hours is really too long. And then she comes home and she kind of like vents it all. And so she gets quite frustrated with the other kids, and it's more the social stuff. So really kind of teaching her how to protect her own energy in a sense, or manage her own energy in a way that's not depleting her is the challenge, I guess. Um, but yeah, kind of decided to work on teaching her that in this without taking her away from school, like using it as a lesson to her, but we'll see how that works next year. She's using her painting a lot to help with that and that time in that space. So yeah, any suggestions are always welcome. I mean, you must have gone through some of these struggles at school. Did you went to mainstream school
Yeah,
and you've got your projector energy?
very, very mainstream.
So how did you manage 6 hours a day with everybody's energy all around that you were probably absorbing?
No, I don't. I was just becoming them. I guess my strategy was becoming them, being them.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
And how'd that work out for you?
Well, it kind of like if you ask me now, I don't know how I kind of managed. Um, but it's very late in life that I realized I was being them for most of my
Mm.
life, if you count in years. So,
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say it like that because that's actually explains a lot to me.
Mm.
And when I
And
think,
mhm.
yeah,
And plus, both of my parents are manifestors, with a defined will center. So they are will driven, kind of.
mm,
They are will motivated. So I guess I was becoming everybody on my way, plus each of them and them together.
mm.
Yeah.
And that helps me understand her a bit actually. Mm. And she gets quite frustrated and she gets quite angry actually.
Hmm.
Um, and feels very misunderstood, I think. So,
Yes, and it's very natural to be misunderstood in this case, in my case, in
mm,
her case. It's very
mm,
natural. It's not that there is something wrong with this. You know what I mean? Or
mm,
something to repair,
yeah,
because this, like, it's just it just like this is the this is how, like, if it there is no potential, there is no potential around for understanding. I mean, like, of course there is infinite potential and everything is possible, but kind of the dominant, the majority of the around is just they just don't have access to anything she's about.
mm,
So it's a really natural state or quality or experience to be like generally mainstreamly misunderstood.
mm,
But
mm,
you are now her kind of her first contact, and you are learning, you're opening into her. I mean, because you've been opening into yourself for these many years.
yeah,
So 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 I there are those few who understand us, who recognize.
mm. But
And
I feel quite the same in my life as well. Although I'm not a projector, but I have felt very misunderstood
mm,
all my life, really, on lots of levels. Um, But I feel like that's actually because of not. I think that's because some of us come from we've come into this incarnation for specific purposes, and there's there's a that we didn't come in to be understood or to fit in. So, you know, I tried to fit in as well. I tried to do what I could to fit in so I could feel normal, and just kind of took a long time to figure out that I wasn't supposed to fit in. I came here to change things.
Mm.
So you don't change them if you fit into them.
Mm.
Mm. So there's that element too, I think. It's the way shows. But I do know, I appreciate actually I saw on your webpage. It's interesting because there's every single, and I don't know if that's just because they're the ones that you get or whatever. I imagine that people, anyone who sort of understands you or understands your experiences you on any kind of a deeper level would say similar things. But I noticed that everybody had mentioned something to do um, with your ability to kind of transport you to the beyond, to places beyond
Mm.
societal ordinary reality. So
Mm.
that's a beautiful gift, you know. I feel gifted by that from you. So um that wouldn't be possible if you were somebody that was fit in and understood by the mainstream mass populace, would it? So,
Mm.
well, not as they are at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm. Mhm. So I think that perhaps with these kids as well, when they're older, they will also find their way, find their place that's within their own difference.
Mm.
Mm. And I feel as though the best thing I can do for them really is just to kind of allow them as much as possible to be them. Um, and to, the more the more I am within me, the more that assists them, and also the more I seem to learn from them because their way of thinking and being is different. So it's interesting. It's interesting to me. Yeah. Mm. I think the benefit too of having older children that have told me how much that can relay back to me now their experiences when they were younger children, and is such a benefit because I've realized that putting so much of my life into them didn't actually help matters. It was like it's really kind of like the more I sacrificed of myself to give to them, the less I actually gave them.
Mm.
And so with these guys, the more I'm giving to myself, the more I'm really giving to them, which would have been a hard concept for me to grasp before. And I would have considered that selfish or not how to be a good parent. But I realized too that comes from feeling as though it comes from behavioral learning from my own lack of parenting, I guess. From being my own parents, I mean, from not really being parents. So I, of course, tried to be the over the top amazing parent and kind of overparented. So I think we go through these cycles, but yeah. But I do appreciate that. I mean, understanding you somewhat in the human design stuff that you got me into has really helped me with these guys a lot, and with myself too. So finding that there's things that I used to get on my own case for, and now realizing that that's just how I function, and why am I getting upset with myself for that? You know,
Yeah.
and bringing it back to this definition thing, like, um, a friend of mine was talking about being depressed a lot, and then there was this thing about contraction and expansion, and how a natural part of life is to expand and contract. We breathe, like we breathe in and out. And so when we're in contraction, or when we're in that inward space, it doesn't have to be seen as retreating, or being depressed, or being a hermit. It's just a matter of going inward and being within for a while, because there's something to be learned or gained or experienced in that space. But when we put all these definitions on it, that it's not okay to spend all that time, in that space and not outward, it becomes worded things like depression, or it becomes something that's seen as a negative, or something that needs to be fixed, but it doesn't really need to be fixed. It just needs to be allowed, as we've been learning here, sister. Allowance. Mm. And so, did you have any insightful solstice experiences? So you're in the peak of your winter, and I'm the peak of my summer here.
It's been quite intense in this aspect of me receiving, like I have been learning to receive, and also the material, I guess. First of all, the material, the present from you. And today I received a book which came much earlier than expected. Also today I went to the diseased people that I used
Mm.
to give sessions to, and yes, there I was receiving much recognition, actually, from each of them, because I was meeting them one by one. I didn't want to meet them in a group. I wanted to meet each of them one by one. So I was kind of traveling from one room to the other for
Mm.
to spend a few moments with each of them. And yes, now, because I was like, I came out from there and directly met with you, so I haven't yet kind of. It's just the very direct. Yes. So it was, yes, like with each of them, I would like really receiving much recognition through joy, through appreciation. So it's been very much about receiving, here on earth.
Mhm.
Yeah. the,
Mm.
these moments.
Mm.
Yeah. And you?
Yeah, I think mine's been very earthly based as well.
Hmm.
And there's sort of a message in that, I guess. Um, yeah, I've been having quite intense dreams, and I still keep coming back to this awareness of physical presence. So,
Hmm.
and this kind of, I'm in this sort of state of purpose. I mean, I guess that's what I'd call it. sort of directed. And I've been achieving a lot in the last few days that are physical, practical things that I've been putting off for a long time that I've been actually doing.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And not really struggling or stressing through them either, just kind of getting them done. So it's a
Yes,
bonus.
very, very earthly based. I now have an example of my life. I guess it started 2 days ago that I thought, oh, I need to to kind of, because I've been having plants that in my room have been growing. So there have been babies near the original ones.
Yeah.
And I thought I need to give them space to the babies. And then I bought the kind of the special soil, and I was planting them. And today, from one of the persons, I got he cut some part of a branch which I put into the water. Wait
Yeah.
until it gives the roots so that I plant it.
Cool.
So in this, like really, like yes, literally, Earth.
Yeah. Actually, it's literally earth stuff for me too today because I did a fire. I have had the fire. I haven't used my ceremonial circle for a long time,
Mhm.
but it's been building up and I've been putting things in it and then haven't done anything, haven't lit it. And so, because it was solstice day and my friend Bishma and I, we went to Diane's for a solstice ceremony last night. We're not doing them here anymore. I was like, well, it's a good enough time. It's a good time to light the fire. So we lit the fire and then went and gathered all the things that were lying around that needed putting on the fire. And there was a tree had fallen down at the back of my house, and it was the most amazing thing. I had lent glass up against it and up against the trunk of it, and when it fell, it was like it was like the trunk with the glass leaning against it and the bit that fell off right on the other side of it, and it didn't break the glass. And it fell, instead of on the house, it fell right in front of the house across the driveway. Didn't break anything. But we had to get that and chop it up and take it and put it on the fire. So I got out there with the chainsaw and I was chopping things and clearing, and now I've got a whole nother big pile of stuff that I haven't cleared for a long time, and the house, everything's kind of grown back around the place, and now it's kind of feels like it's got some space and some breath. So
Hmm.
yeah, earthy stuff as well.
Yeah.
Gathering up weeds. I had stuff all over me. I was like, um, yeah, but it felt good to actually accomplish these things that, and I'll go out in the morning. I know I will. I'll go out in the morning and I'll just wander around and admire the the space and the things that have been created now from that. Yeah. So perhaps it is about getting earthy and getting more in tune with nature, hey? But the other things I did the last couple of days were homeschool reports and for the government reporting, which is something that I generally try to avoid at all costs and put off. But I managed to just do it, and yeah. And I also started filling in the form for my passport. So hey,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
progression. I didn't finish it yet, but I started filling the form in.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure how much time we got left, but what's your bringing in? We always do things that is there anything that you focusing on for the next quarter, or you're just flowing with between now and equinox when things start balancing out again?
I don't have any plans.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's interesting.
the eternal plan is just to be be become dance, be back into the now,
Hmm.
into the into the physical, non-physical. So I don't have any specific, but this
Mm,
one.
I get that. That's why I find it hard to do this clarity of intentions and things when people are talking about going into manifestation states and planning and doing goal setting, etc. It's like, yeah, when you say my plan is to surrender further and further into myself, I'm not sure how I set up strategies and goal setting around that. It's just something that is a quite a
No, it's like it's a perfect strategy, isn't it? It's a strategy, it's a goal, it's an achievement, it's everything. It's
hmm,
everything at once.
true. And it's a lot. It doesn't have stress with it because it doesn't have these expectation and targets and all those sorts of things. So there's freedom within it. Mm. So yeah, freedoming more into the self as a goal. And into the now, I guess. Mm. Actually, it was interesting too. I noticed the other day, I was aside from noticing that I'd posted our WeAM conversations 8, but I hadn't actually made it public or shared it. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
I better do that. So I did that today. And then I also noticed that some of my older videos, I looked at a couple of them from the start of the year, and I was quite intrigued by the fact that this at the start of the year there were some videos that I'd made where I talked about some things that have taken me only till recently to actually integrate. And I was listening to myself going, yeah, like what do you call it, where you make it not public? I'd made it where it wasn't public, visible, the video.
Yeah.
And then I listened to it. I was like, why did I make this not visible? And so I listened to it and I was like, realized that I judged myself. And I was like, oh, that's actually, yeah, great. That was cool. And I already knew this, when was this? The 3rd of January. Like, and here I am still, I remember thinking about that or questioning that still within myself in like September or something. And it taught me this little lesson about doubting myself and, you know, um, judging myself or not, I don't know. It was interesting for me to see the couple of those and realize that,
But did you finally publish them?
yeah, I put them where you can take them off. Well, I thought I did. I went and had a look when I did that today. With our one, I noticed that you have to press publish, not just make it public instead of unlisted. So I'll have to check if I did that right. But yeah, I hadn't made our one unlisted yet either. I'd uploaded it when you sent it to me, but I hadn't done that because we'd had to work out that situation with number 7 first. And then once we'd done that, I hadn't moved on and published number 8. So I published it today on the solstice, which I know you've already had it probably published for weeks. But yeah, I thought it was a good opportunity to publish it and have a bit of gratitude because I've been very much offline on a lot of things. I haven't really posted anything or done much online because I've spent the last few months very inward and not wanting to put anything out if it's not something that's genuinely come from me with a desire to be out. So it's really the post I did with it today is probably the first kind of, I don't even know how long. I don't know how long, but it's been a while. And I get inspired by that too because I see people and they tell me they miss my posts or they tell me, yeah, I didn't realize that anybody had recognized that I've been quiet. But when I see people and they say, "Oh, I miss your posts. You have been quiet lately, and I really enjoyed watching your videos, and it used to really inspire me." And I think, "Oh, thank you for telling me that." Because again, I doubt these things sometimes. So it's good to hear that, you know, somebody out there is inspired by something that I've just kind of got on and rambled for about 5 minutes about and put on the internet. So yeah, more lessons, isn't it? Trusting. Mm. I'm glad you're learning about receiving, sister. Is that something you normally struggle with receiving? You're more of a giver than a receiver.
I guess this is a theme for another conversation. We get disconnected